It's Talking Baseball Australia. It's baseball updates you'll really love. The MLB and ABL news you want. With Paul Morgan and Dan Vaughn. It's baseball's best mate all year round. From the batter's box to the mound.
And with that, welcome to Baseball's Best Mate. Paul will be around in a moment. He's around, but we've got a couple things going on here and kind of in fluid here, but he'll be around in just a moment. He was actually with me in the pre-show, and then he's in transit at the moment into the city, so I lost him for a moment. He's on the train. He'll be back in a moment. We'll get the show rolling, though, because we're a few minutes late, and we thought we'd get the show going here. Glad you're along. I'm Dan Vaughn. Paul Morgan, like I said, he was just there, and then when I rolled the open, he disappeared, but that's all good. Let me just check the audio before we get rolling. We always do that. It's, of course, dinner time here in North America, so the lovely wife is doing that. Eric says, before we get to the ABL, shout out to WA and the gold medal game today, Victoria. Yeah, and that actually was on my list of things today. And we haven't really talked about that. By the way, in case you're wondering, and Eric says, "Go Bills." I'm kind of with you. They did me well last weekend, Eric, and they did me very well last week. Yeah, Buffalo's kind of. By the way, for the NFL, for you North America folks that or even Australians who follow the NFL, Buffalo and Seattle are kind of the de facto teams from that a lot of Canadian support. I mean, especially Buffalo being so close to Toronto, and then Vancouver not far from Seattle. So I mean, those are both easy drives. I don't know how. I guess there's Viking fans in Winnipeg. I think. And I guess across the river from Detroit in Windsor, I guess they're Lions fans. But again, teams that are playing. For the folks in Canada out west, it's Seattle. For the folks back east, it's going to be Buffalo. But anyway, I digress. And again, I was about to ask Paul before we started because he's in commute about the national championship game going on. We're going to get to that in a moment. It starts, I believe, it's at 2:00, I believe, local time there. Victoria's playing WA. By the way, great finish to that game yesterday. I don't know if you guys saw that. One of those things where you get a double play ball, and I can't tell you how many times I've seen this, where you get a double play ball, and you turn it, and the inning's over. But if you don't turn it, maybe you drop the ball, the runner's safe at first, or whatever the situation is, and a run scores. I've seen this happen game-winning walk-offs. That's what happened yesterday. There was a double play ball, and the runner came home. And I guess it was routing third and came sneaking home, more sneaking home on that double play ball. But big win yesterday, and we've had fun over the years, a lot of fun following that. I remember, and this is dating Paul and I here, but I remember, oh gosh, 2016 maybe, 17 maybe, somewhere in there. And we went out to Perth Airport when the WA boys won the national tournament there, and it was like the next year those guys were all playing in the ABL. I mean, it was one of those deals where those are 2 years later. I mean, this may have been it's been 14. I'm thinking of, but again, I remember vividly being involved in that and going out and just giving a hero's welcome. But yeah, really good stuff right there. I saw the socials earlier. Eric does a great job with that as well. WA defeated 2 walk-up wins. They found unique ways to win in all their games. What a team vibe they have in Victoria. Second best hitting, the number 1 pitching. Just find ways to generate runs. Lost twice to WA via the walk-off wins. Eric, yeah, I saw the great video post, and that's where I saw that this morning because I'd seen the highlights and kind of followed a little bit and in touch with some folks in WA as well. But a really good video shot of that walk-off winner. And again, those youngsters playing in Sydney there, that's your future of the league. That's your future domestic blood of the ABL. That's what it is. And you can go back. I mean, I think the guys I'm talking about. I'm thinking Jess Williams. This may have been 13, 14-ish. Jess Williams, Alex Hall, those boys are playing in this very same tournament. Now, it's been a while, but they played there. And your future of your league and really your national team and all that. And remember, too, that the national team, even the unders, even the under 21s and all that, whenever they go those national tournaments, what was it last year? I believe it was 2 years ago. It was up in Thunder Bay. Last year, Mexico. I done my years backwards, but you got those unders. I just call them the unders. It's the unders, right? Those points count. Those points count overall now in world rankings. So they count. And in your overall world rankings, not just your top-notch team, it's all your teams. Those ranking numbers are way to there. Eric also is approaching 5 million views on Facebook and Instagram this week. People in Australia baseball really care deeply about this tournament. And, go back, and Eric's got a great point there. And I'm going back, again, 10, 12 years ago, and maybe this is a place we can start. Maybe taking that same approach of the College World Series style, that whole, the conference tournament style that we've talked about over the years has been huge. That's been a huge player for baseball in Australia. That's been big numbers. I mean, again, I remember watching that tournament, like I said, 13, 14. I remember sitting on my flat in WA watching that. Yeah, and Simon says state games where the bonds between players are created. It all starts there, right? I mean, it's because the lack of a high school system, right? Because in North America, you've got your high school teams. I'll be doing some games in North America in the spring, and I was just talking to a lefty, the ace of the staff last night. The team's working out. These kids have played ball together, 10 years since they were little kids. They were little leaguers, right? Or even since they were peeweeers. And these state teams, these teams are where you form your bonds because you don't have that. And that's a big deal. And Simon's spot on. He would know what Simon's been there, man. He's been there, hasn't he? By the way, happy late birthday, mate. Ethan says, always great to see you spread the good word, DB. You got to stick around to watch, but can't stick around to watch. Can't wait to hear what I missed. Yeah, the podcast will be up following this show as we wait. We're waiting for Paul to get back. Now, we are in round 10, and we'll get back a little bit. I'm going to get his comments on this tournament in a moment, but Paul is in the train at the moment. Yeah, well, there's that. The doctor says, wish there was a kind of energy. And there's energy. And I see Eric out there, and I think Eric, while he's watching, I think he's done a really good job. It almost, and Andrew Reynolds has been a part of that too, but almost an island by themselves. Technical staff leader Paulie here. But again, and what Paul's talking about, I was going to ask him about that because I know there's a couple of scouts based in WA and in Victoria and in New South Wales from Major League Baseball. And there's also, to my knowledge, and I don't know the exact schools, there's a couple of guys that are scouting for some Division I programs in North America. I've heard this. I can't confirm this, but I do believe there's at least one junior college that feeds the Big 12 and the SEC that's got a couple of scouts there now that are big pipelines to a couple of programs in those two conferences, which are super conferences for Division I baseball in North America. So that's also going on too. But back to Eric, though, again.